think what I'm most proud of right now is my willingness to try, to fuck up, to try again publicly and not care about anybody seeing me fail, about anybody saying anything about it. Like, standing firm in who the fuck I am and just being okay with the world watching. Even though sometimes I'll be like, ooh, you know, like cringy, but like, but still being okay. Like, this is me. Like, this is human. Like, people make mistakes. People fuck up. It happens. Like, it happens to everybody. And for me to be comfortable with people seeing me do that and just still hard charging, it's like, yeah, you might see me fail, but you saw me try too. And you're going to see me try again. And you're going to watch me get it eventually.
Right.
You know, so I think that's what, that right there, what I just said, that mindset is crazy because me, 11 years ago, hearing me say that, nah, bruh. Like, who the fuck are you? Oh, you're already thinking.
So, baby.
Yes, dear.
Today, the big question is, who are you today compared to when we first met?
Who am I today compared to when we first met?
11 years ago.
I think when we first met, I was scared. Like, I was a very, like, scared, like, to myself person who really didn't know what I wanted out of life. Which is normal because I was fucking 18. Like, you know, we were 18 when we first met, so it's normal to really not know what you want to do with life. You're kind of just moving through things, and I don't know, like, being in the military just was like, okay, well, let's be in the military. Let's be in the military and let's see how this works out for me. But I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with my life. But in comparison to that, like, to now, like, I'm very firm in, like, who I am and who I want to be and who I'm becoming. And I'm more comfortable with being uncomfortable to force myself to grow. And me 11 years ago would not recognize me right now in this moment. She'll be like, oh, that's me now. Because I was just so afraid of being myself. I mean, I guess because it's like, okay, well, I didn't really know who I was. I feel like I said this in an episode before where I'm like, okay, I'm going from living in my parents' house being told what to do and who to be and who to become. And then I'm in the military being told what to do, you know, and stuff like that. So I didn't have the time to really, well, not that I didn't have the time. I didn't have the awareness enough to sit down and be like, well, who the fuck am I? Right. And then you came in my life. Right. And you asked me questions about myself, and I was like, never thought about that. But let's think about that now. Like, what do I want to do? What am I like? What am I about? What do I like? What do I want to do with my life? I don't know if that goes with what I'm trying to say with the question. But fast forward to now, like, I'm very sure of who I am and who I want to be. And I don't second guess myself anymore. I don't second guess any of my actions because I know I have really good intentions. I know that what I do is out of love. So yeah, I guess being more just sure of myself in every aspect now. Even if I'm afraid or even if I'm uncomfortable. Okay. So yeah. I really hope that answers the question because I kind of feel like I went far. I was reaching a little bit. But
it's fine. Yeah. I think it still kind of brings everything back full circle because it was the big question was, who are you in comparison to when we first met? And so, I mean, it's still in the same, same ballpark.
For sure.
Because I know when we first met, I was coming out of a real dark place. Like, not only not knowing who I was, but trying to be a whole bunch of different stuff at the same time. And so when I met you, it was my opportunity to slow down. Right. And to really say, who is it that I want to be and to try to start working on becoming that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like when you first came into my life, I was so intentional about making sure that I became a better person so that way I could maintain a relationship with the caliber of woman that I thought you were at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, I went into this spiral, like going down or whatever, like right before we met, that kind of like shut me off from the word. Then you come around, and then it's like, well, all right, I think I'm ready to start kind of figuring this thing out again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, after we met, I knew that being around you would make me a whole lot better because in a very short amount of time, you would show to me that there were certain things that you weren't cool with. You were very vocal about the way that you felt about different things or whatever. Like, and there was all of these other little elements about you that challenged who I was.
Okay.
And they weren't things that I was not willing to get rid of. And so being around you and being in your presence a lot of that time, like it made me have to like level up like who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I wanted for myself, even though I wasn't necessarily sure what that looked like.
Right. Okay.
And so basically graduating from year to year of us being together, it was always this constant pursuit of, all right, how can I be a better version of myself? Because I was insecure. I was super insecure, honestly. I was very all over the place, so to say, or whatever. I didn't have any real objectives as far as like what I wanted to become,
Mm-hmm.
other than like having like a lot of rank in the military, which is like
Yeah.
very short term thinking. You know what I mean? So I didn't know how far I wanted to go in this life or whatever. Like it really kind of just started and stopped with the military, and then I kind of just figured it out from there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even anything about like me personally. Like I was so much more than my job, but I couldn't see beyond that. I was so much more than just like this cool dude who was out here, you know, partying and doing all this other stuff. I didn't have any real substance for who I was personally.
Okay.
And so when you came around and as the years started to progress, I wanted to be a great friend. I wanted to be somebody who was intentional about their relationships. I wanted to be, you know, somebody who could show and express love in a meaningful way. I wanted to do all of these things that I think ultimately created who Tron is today, because they started like compound on top of each other to where now who I am today is somebody who's becoming even more sure of themselves, because I still have these moments, you know, like to where I might second guess certain things or like insecurities still kind of show up here and there. But I'm so conscious of them now to where now I can actively work on those things. I can actively give more intentional effort in becoming who it is that I know that I want to be. And so now I feel like I'm in this space to where not only have I become, you know, a more intentional husband and friend and all of these other different things, but me compared to who I was then and now, it's two totally different people.
Yeah.
Like I would not recognize me the same way that you said, because it's like, man, I was I was out here. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even imagine what if I was to just be standing in front of me at 19 years old or 18 years old looking at me today, like they wouldn't even recognize each other.
Right.
Like, who are you, bro? You know what I mean? So, but I'm very happy with the man that I've become today. And I know that as we continue to grow and develop more, we're naturally going to become more because we want to grow. We naturally want to be the highest version of ourselves. And I think we do that so beautifully together.
Yeah, and I think we look for opportunities to grow. Like we don't just expect it to just come out of nowhere. Like we are really conscious of it, and we're like, okay, well, how can I learn from this situation? It can be the littlest thing, and
Right.
we're like, you know, well, what can we learn from this? So I think that is dope about the both of us. And shoot, you so fucking dope, man. I swear, you're so dope. You are far, like you said, you're far different than when we first met. Like the man you were when we first met, you were dope as fuck then. But the man you are right now, like, I can't even describe it because it's so far beyond any words I can think of. Because you are an amazing person. And watching you grind, watching you grow, watching you push through any fucking thing, it's beautiful to watch. And I love that I'm able to be here to support you and to see it happen because, wow. That's really all I can say is fucking wow.
As grateful as I am of that, it's like, it's crazy because I see the same thing in you. When we first, not even when we first met, the first handful of years of us even being together, it was always like, you remember how you used to walk around all the time, like we'd be out in public, and you used to kind of like walk around. I ain't gonna say you was ditzy, but you was like, not that word, but you was just like real curious. You know what I mean? Like everything was just like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's funny because it's like, it was kind of like a peek into who you were. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that, you were so curious because you could tell that you were still looking for yourself and so many different things, you know, like had your attention or had your curiosity, and you were still being amazed by so many other different things or whatever as you were growing into yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the most beautiful things is because, well, one of the most beautiful things about you is throughout all of that time, I've watched you challenge yourself. Mm-hmm. I've watched you challenge the old beliefs that you've had before. I've watched you challenge yourself as far as, yeah, I was thinking this way or I used to think this way or whatever. And today, I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. And one of the big things that I know that we've realized lately is that one of the most amazing things about being a person is the fact that we can change. And I've watched you change just like you've watched me change so much over the years. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I can't speak for nobody else, but I know we've had years to where we've gone through drastic changes like month after month after month. Like, and I mean like complete identity shifts. Mm-hmm. And one of the most amazing things about our relationship is that every time that changes for one of us, it changes for the other person because it's like now we have to grow and adapt to the new person. Yeah. And I think that keeps our relationship so fresh because it's like, well, I was accustomed to Adoria, 3 months ago. This one got a whole nother type of energy. Right. You know what I mean? Big so like now, big energy, right? So how do I adjust myself now to be more fitting for who she is right now? Mm-hmm. And then it's also having to get to relearn each other because
that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Yeah. Because it's like we're so ever evolving to where now we got to come back with that same intention from years ago into this new person. Mm-hmm. Like I can't just assume that you're cool with this, or I can't assume that you think this way, or you make these certain types of decisions when you're going through this identity shift as far as developing who you are. You know what I mean? And we've done that so many times with each other. And I'm not sure how, but we've made it work like without any level of friction. Mm-hmm. And in those moments, I think what's also helped us so much is we are intentional about seeking understanding.
Yeah, our communication is always able. Like we always make sure we communicate these things. We don't let things fester. So I think that's like a big point in itself. Is we make sure when we're changing, we make sure we're talking about us changing. Right. It's like when I was going, I'm drastically different than I was when I turned 30 3 months ago. Like right. I'm drastically different than that person. Me and you literally we were walking outside and right. I was like, babe, I'm different. Like I'm different now. Like this is who Adoria is right now. And I need you to make room for her. Like, I'm going to need you to adjust to her. Like, if I'm talking a certain way, like, you're going to have to relearn me, and be okay with that, which you are already okay with that. But it's something that, me, I have to say things out loud for me, but to you, so I can get a better understanding of myself. But
Right.
it's super important to have these talks where when you feeling yourself changing, you need to talk to that person about it. Let your loved one know, like, okay, this is what I'm going through, and I would like you to at least be a part of it and help me get through this
Yeah,
together.
and to help you navigate it too,
Yeah.
because it's like, well, now if this is who you're becoming and it feels right for you,
Mm.
it's like, okay, now I need to get a further understanding of that so that way I know where I fit in all of this.
Mm.
And now how do I need to move in order to where I can continue to let you do what you need to do and still be who I need to be. And then we still meet each other, on that common ground as far as where our relationship is going, how we're developing together and things like that. And that might be, I think things like that might be kind of scary or intimidating for a lot of couples. But the fact of it is, as humans, it's natural for us to grow.
Mm.
It's natural for us to grow and evolve and to continuously become, because the person you are a year ago shouldn't be the same person a year later. And it's when you have somebody that's in your life and you're going on that journey with them and you're constantly evolving, it never gets boring.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, because it's like you're going through these moments in life to where two new people are showing up every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Two new people are showing up. Two people with completely new perspectives. Two people with new desires and ambitions and goals and whatever the case may be. And now every time it's like we're rising to that occasion. And hopefully we're growing in a direction that serves the relationship. But I think like if couples look at it that way, that it's this constant, evolution, this constant change, that it would allow them to be more intentional, for one, about who they're becoming and who they're becoming with their partner. Mm. So that way they can have that exchange and they can have those transitions together and then not cause separation. Right. So, and now I don't even know how it went there.
I have no idea. I was like, oh, keep going. But okay.
I say that though because it's one of those things that we've naturally done, but we've never talked about it.
That's true.
Like, every time we've been through a cycle like that where things are just changing up or whatever in us personally, that's what we've done.
Yeah.
Like, we've never voiced it, but it's like we have this unspoken truth or way of being with each other to where we just know what to do in those moments, but we've never had to really say it out loud.
Yeah.
Because I can see when certain things are happening with you. Like, you don't have to say it. And the same thing with me. I can see from the different types of books that you're reading, or you might know from the different types of books that I'm listening to, or the different things that I'm interested in at this time.
Yeah.
Conversations.
Yeah.
Because, we best friends. We talk about everything.
Yeah.
So things that are not typically in the norm, we start to see them adjust. And it's like we know it's coming before it even gets there.
Right.
But that's us, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think for me, it's very important to me that you do what you need to do for you. So you can show up in our relationship the best way you can.
Right.
Because if Tron's not taking care of Tron, then how can you make sure you're a good provider? Make sure you're taking care of me the way you should be. And the same for me. Like, I got to make sure I got to do what I need to do for me so I can better serve you and so we can build what the fuck we want to build and make sure it's great. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes when people get into a marriage, they forget that they're two separate people choosing to be together to create something.
Right.
And it's like when one person isn't taking care of themselves, that in itself can cause friction in the relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So both people need to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. That way the relationship can thrive.
Right.
So, and I think we've done that so well within our relationship, and it comes easy to us because we literally talk all. That's all we do. We hardly even watch TV and stuff. That's literally all we do. Talk every day. So it's easy for us to do it, but I know it can be difficult for others to really have those sit down talks, and really get to the root of things and try to figure things out individually and together.
One of the challenging things that I've seen, external to us, of course, is that a lot of the times people are, in relationships and all they have is, their work.
Mm-hmm.
All it is, you go to work, you clock in, you do whatever it is you do. And then, maybe you come home, you got your spouse, you got the kids or whatever. It's real robotic. You know what I mean? Like it's very, very robotic and kind of routine, right?
Okay.
But with us, something that's always been different is we've always been in like some state of a creative space to where no matter what's happening in our lives, there's always some level of change that's happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter if it's work, no matter if it's what's going on with baby girl, no matter what's going on anywhere, there's something always shifting in our world to where we're becoming different people all the time, or we're looking to become a different version of ourselves. Because I know for years, like especially going back as far as maybe 2016,
mm-hmm.
when we started to develop these real like big ambitions, it's like we've always been like chasing that greater version of ourselves. And then it's like, so it's been that, and then everything else around us that's happening also.
Mm-hmm.
Like then there's work, then there's, me or you, then there's all of these other things. But it's like we're constantly chasing something or chasing this higher version of ourselves, and we're doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, we are individuals. We're two individuals in a relationship choosing to do this life thing together. Mm-hmm. And as we're doing that, you have to do the things that are more fulfilling to you, and the things that give you life, and the things that make you feel fulfilled, and the same things that I have to do. And a lot of our things, are mutual things that we share, but a lot of things are also individual as well. And we're always finding these different ways to mesh those things together, or to be able to support each other in a type of way where we can make those things happen.
Right.
And we've never been so restricted or so focused on just the main little elements of our life as far as what's happening physically around us, from, like I say, work to just what's happening between me and you, or baby girl, or friendships, or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's always this constant for how can I do something today or this week or this month or whatever that's fulfilling to me, to where I can continue to grow and become something more.
Mm-hmm.
And us always having to find different ways to help support each other through those things.
Right.
So even looking back at the main question, it's like, okay, well, who are we today compared to when we first met? Even saying that now, it's like knowing that answer is going to change.
It's going to change.
That answer,
absolutely.
Because I guarantee if we would ask the same question come December 1st or January 1st, it'll be something completely different. Mm-hmm. It might have elements, of what it is now, whatever, but we're constantly pursuing this level of change because we know that change is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like I said, it keeps our relationship fresh. It keeps us coming back for more, because it's like, I never know what I'm going to get from you. I never know who you're going to become. I have an idea of it, mm-hmm. and it's beautiful to me or whatever. And I know you have the same for me, but it's the fact that we're always chasing this thing just to see what our real potential looks like in this life of who we can become.
Yeah.
And I think that's a dope thing we've shared for years.
Yeah, absolutely. Awkward moment.
It's not awkward, baby. But I do have one other question for you before we pivot.
Uh-oh.
No, it ain't no uh-oh moment.
I'm just messing.
So, as we've continued to grow over the years, and especially like dealing with everything that we've gone through in the past couple of years, what would you say you are the most proud of regarding who you are today?
What am I most proud of?
As far as who you are
today, right now. I think what I'm most proud of right now is my willingness to try, to fuck up, to try again publicly, and not care about anybody seeing me fail, about anybody saying anything about it. Like, standing firm in who the fuck I am and just being okay with the world watching. Even though sometimes I'll be like, ooh, you know, like cringy, but like, but still being okay. Like, this is me. Like, this is human. Like, people make mistakes. People fuck up. It happens. Like, it happens to everybody. And for me to be comfortable with people seeing me do that and just still hard charging, it's like, yeah, you might see me fail, but you saw me try too. And you're going to see me try again. And you're going to watch me get it eventually.
Right.
You know, so I think that's what that right there, what I just said, that mindset is crazy because me 11 years ago, hearing me say that, nah, bruh, like, who the fuck are you? You know? So yeah, I guess that's really what it is. Like, just, I don't know, just being firm in who I am and just being okay with people seeing me be me, seeing people see me be human, you know? So that's my answer.
I love all of that.
You felt it?
I did.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because I know it was you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that even if that wasn't your answer, it's like a part of me would have knew that was actually the answer. I guess you could say, because you've been living that.
Yes.
Like, you've been living that from day to day. So it makes it so easy to know that that's true.
Yes.
It's like, that's literally what life has been like, especially like for the last few months.
Yes.
It's been you just deciding to go for it regardless.
Yeah. Anyway, just throwing carrot to the wind and just like doing it. Like, oh well, whoever gonna see me, I
love it.
Whatever.
Thank
you, baby. Thank you. Okay, same. I'm proud of you. But okay, same question to you.
What I'm most proud of right now is kind of in the same boat as you.
Don't steal my answer.
Not the same answer, but almost in the same boat.
Okay.
I am in this space now to where I am so proud of who I am and who I know that I'm becoming, and being okay with being me, because I've dealt with such a high level of professionals' insecurity. I've done with such a high level of imposter syndrome and all of these things, and like not thinking that I was good enough in a lot of other areas. And a lot of the times it was self-inflicted, because it was like, man, you could be doing more, or you should be so much more of this, and comparing myself to everybody else around me, and like, oh, you did it like that. Oh, I need to get it this way too. Oh, you did it like that. Oh, okay. Oh, you did it in this time frame. I need to do it in half of that. And it was like always finding myself to where I would discredit myself and the growth that I've done and the things that I've overcame. And it was never in my mind good enough, because I'm not looking at all the strides that I've taken forward, and I'm just quick to compare it to everything else. So, wow. It's like now what I'm most proud of is the fact that I'm happy with being 100% of who I am, and I'm completely okay with people not fucking with me. Like, I'm completely okay with me not being for everybody else. I'm completely okay with the people who do rock with me and love me for who I am. I'm completely okay with pouring my everything into those people. Yes. Like, I love people. I love business. I love fitness. I love all of these different things. Like, I'm hyper aggressive, and I like that part about me or whatever. I love hard. All of these different things like that make up who I am authentically. I'm so okay with being 100% of who that person is, and not conforming to anybody else's perceptions of what I should be.
Come on with it.
And so it's like now I'm stepping into this space of becoming more of that. Yes. And like loving me through the process, being willing to make mistakes, knowing, hell, I say like
a million fucking times. Do.
You know what I'm saying?
Like and
all of that shit. Like, I'm not the most articulate speaker, none of that stuff. Like, sometimes it takes me some time to process. All of these are my natural character traits. And I'm actively working on developing and becoming a better version of myself, a better communicator, a better listener, all of these different things. But I'm going to do it while being me. Yes. and actively working on the things that I want to improve because I want to improve them, not to appeal to somebody else.
Come on.
So it's just like, man, I'm just happy being me. And like that makes me proud because I think for a lot of years I wasn't too happy just being me. So
and I'm over here looking at you like, bro, you dope as fuck. Like, what do you mean?
I know,
like, you're amazing.
And then
and people need to see that. Like, you so fucking boy. Anyway, go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
Nah,
you so fucking dope, bro.
Because it's like being your husband is easy. It's like it's easy for me. Like it's being like a father to baby girl it's easy to me. Granted, it comes with its challenges because I have to be high level intention, but I'm used to being intentional like that.
All right now.
So when I say it's easy, it's like it comes with its level of difficulties that I'm accustomed to. So the challenges that would be challenges for somebody else, for me, it's just life. I just do this. You know what I mean? But me being okay with being me is a challenge. And so it's the fact that I know that you think I'm dope and you look at me, in this highlight or whatever, but thinking that of myself is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And so, and I know that the more that I do that for me, the more that also does for you, which also does a lot for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's what I'm at with it.
Yeah. I'm good at that. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
You're amazing. People need to see you. People need to hear you speak. Like, you just...
I think the same thing about you, though.
Thank you.
But it's...
I'm trying. I'm getting better.
Right. Because I know, man, it's like nobody's perfect at all. And I hope that we never give off the impression that we're trying to look picture perfect or like we got it all together or none of that stuff. Like, because even though we've been getting a lot of traction in our content and stuff like that, like I be telling people all the time, and like, these are just conversations that we have all the time that we just finally decided to record and let other people watch and see what we talk about. But that's by no means does that mean we got everything figured out or that we experts, so to say. We're actively trying to figure it out because what we've noticed is a lot of couples, a lot of people in relationships don't ask themselves this level of intentional questions and try to figure it out together. A lot of the times, it might just be stuff that plays in the back of people's head, but they don't bring it out. But we naturally have these conversations.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, well, we're going to put it on display. But do not be surprised if a year from now, we think some shit we said a year ago was dumb as hell. Like, shit, you know what I'm saying?
For real.
Like, it very well could be like that.
But that's how you learn and you grow.
Yeah.
You get introduced to new information and it makes you question what you think. And you're like, you decide whether you want to stay with the level of thinking that you want or you want to take on this new level of thinking. That's how it works.
That's life.
That is how it works.
That is life.
You're not supposed to think the same exact thing all the time. Like when you're introduced with new information, you decide whether you want to change your mind or not, and you move forward with that.
That's
information. Like that's how it works.
Based off of your experiences, who you are today, whatever data points you got to compare it to or whatever, like all of those things play a role. So with our collected information, experiences, and stuff, these are our answers today. Based off of...
It's 6:50.
Right.
On November 20th.
Right. So that's what it is today.
Yeah.
But it could be something completely different 3, 6 months, 12 months from now, whatever the case.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that we're on this journey growing together and learning as we go. And I think now at this point, just displaying to others our genuine intention behind what it is that we're doing and allowing them to watch our process of growing through it and learning through it without trying to pretend to be something that we ain't.
Yeah.
So,
thanks.
Yeah, man, that's where we at with it. So, we are two completely different people now today compared to when we were, but man, who we are is fucking dope.
Dope. You know I had to add that in there.
I know you can't help it. You can't help it. That's it.